The House of Representatives just overwhelmingly passed a bill ordering the release of the Justice Department's files on Jeffrey Epstein, history's most notorious sex offender and the one-time best friend of Donald Trump. The vote was a shocking 427-1. Shocking to Trump, that is. So now the world is asking, who was the one? Scumbag and abuser protector are just a few of the choice words for the guy who just might be the most mega MAGA Trump loyalist of them all. Let's pick up the story with ABC putting an underline on the incredible one-sided vote against Trump, and they also reveal who the dissenter is and share his excuse for the inexcusable vote.
I do want to note, though, the vote tally here is quite significant. I mean, we've been covering Congress now for years, and it is hard to find Democrats and Republicans really agree on very much these days. The fact that this was a sweeping and significant bipartisan vote, not just from Democrats supporting this, but also Republicans that are calling from transparency, even though the White House, the Trump administration, the president himself, Republican leadership tried to stall this very vote now for months. In the end, it did come forward. And you saw it there. That vote tally is quite significant. A number of Democrats and Republicans voting to pass this, with the exception there of Clay Higgins, the Republican.
Got a statement from Representative Clay Higgins. The only no here, my guess is it's because he had been saying from the very beginning, by just his principles, he was voting no because he didn't want to see innocent people being hurt.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Karen. That's really what this statement says. I'm going to read in part to you what it says. He says, if enacted in its current form, this broad reveal of criminal investigative files will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt. He goes on to say, if the Senate amends the bill to properly address privacy of victims and other Americans who are named but not criminally impacted, then I will vote for this bill when it comes back to the House. But you heard there from Jay talking about the ongoing process. And I will tell you, just from the number of Republicans I've talked to even today, I mean, that is part of the concern here. This bill has now cleared the House. It now goes over to the other side of Capitol Hill. It goes over to the Senate. If they make changes, as Jay said, then it comes back here over to the House. They'd have to pass it before sending it to the president's desk. That is a process that could then take weeks. That's weeks that this Epstein saga remains in the news cycle. I know many here on Capitol Hill, especially within the Republican Party, are eager to move on and move past this.
To introduce you to Higgins and remove any doubt about his lack of intellectual honesty, here he is just a couple of days ago mumbling his way through a blatant lie about Trump's relationship with Epstein. Have a listen, and then I'll share the sonic boom that was just lowered on him.
What do you make of this information that came out today about that had mentioned Donald Trump in some of these emails?
I mean, you read that stuff, it's salacious, you know.
But doesn't it concern you that his name is being...
My understanding, and I've looked into it extensively, is that the president didn't like that guy. He had, like, no friendly relationship with him. But you can't control who takes a picture with you.
And as promised, here's the internet unleashing some unholy hell on a man who could easily be described today as the Louisiana leper because of his very lonely vote. 50 Shades of Way posted, Representative Clay Higgins from Louisiana was the lone no vote on the release of the Epstein files. Here's a video of him putting his hands all over someone without their consent. Ex-user Tony said apparently Clay Higgins is the sole no vote for releasing the Epstein files. Imagine wanting protecting pedophiles to be your legacy. What a scumbag. And Nicole Bowman delivered a call to action with her takedown. This is Representative Clay Higgins. He represents Louisiana's 3rd Congressional District and is the only member of the House of Representatives who voted to protect abusers, continue to traumatize survivors of human trafficking, and voted against releasing the Epstein files. Congressman Higgins is up for re-election in 349 days. Remember his face, remember his name. Remember what he just did. History is watching. The Congressman Higgins story is fascinating, and he deserves every ounce of dragging he receives. But the real story here is Republicans voted 216-1. 216 representatives went against Trump. This is seismic because it could be argued that Trump has been on a winning streak since taking office. And when he wins, constitutional-loving Americans who appreciate justice and accountability lose. But what if this moment marks a turning of the tide? Momentum can swing, and what if the same people who opportunistically lined up behind the guy who is winning turn their backs on their idol as he's in freefall? What if lawmakers, insiders, and judges tap the brakes on their blind loyalty? And what if generals say no to future orders with, "That's an abuse of power, sir"? It would be a tremendous seismic shift like the world has never seen before, believe me. That's what I think. Now I want to know what you think. Please comment below, and let's continue to occupy democracy together.